set myself a real challenge today because I'm going to be making Black Forest Gateau. This is for a celebration party, so I'm really hoping it goes well. So let's get started. Today we're going to have to use the stand mixer because I want my eggs to be really fluffy. We're starting off with 4 eggs. Here we go. We're then going to add to this 125 grams of granulated sugar. All we're going to do now is whip these until they're mousse-like. So, high speed, and we're just going to mix these good and proper until they're very light, fluffy and mousse-like. You can see now just how thick and fluffy this is. In this bowl I have 125 grams of all-purpose flour and I have 25 grams of cocoa powder. This is already well sifted, so we pop that in. I've also got, because I'm using all-purpose flour, I've got 2 teaspoons here of baking powder. Nearly forgot. In here I've got 125 grams of melted butter. Now be careful, because if you put this in while it's hot, it will start cooking this cake now. So you need to melt it and then leave it to cool before you use it. So in goes this butter. And then using my Maurice, I'm going to fold this all together. Just very gently. We don't want to lose all the air that we've just put into this because we want this cake to be really nice and fluffy. This is a whisked sponge recipe and it is gorgeous. It's very quick to cook. I'm going to pop this, when it's ready, into the oven only on 180 degrees for sort of 10 to 12 minutes. It's very quick. Just keep folding, make sure you've picked up all the flour and especially all the butter from the bottom. You'll see that you keep getting little lumps of flour, so just make sure you pick that right up. And we're nearly done. That's looking good. There we go. I'm happy with that. So, put my Maurice to one side. I'm going to use that bowl to put it in. Now I've got 3 pans ready. And these are 20 centimetres on the base. Now we need 3 layers of cake. So I'm going to cook these ones like this. I'm also going to make some smaller ones for my sons, and so I'm going to make it on the sheet here and then cut them out afterwards. So here we go. I've got my ice cream scoops, so I know what I'm doing here. So 1 in there, 2, and I'm just going to share this equally, and that's why the ice cream scoops are a good idea, because you can make sure that you've got the same amount in each, apart from bits I drip of course, which goes without saying. I've just flipped it all the way over there on the wall. I'm getting this absolutely everywhere. Okay, put that to one side. Down, I'll get in trouble, won't I? And then I'm just going to spread this to the edges, because this is only a thin layer. What I've done is I've slightly oiled the pan and then put some paper, parchment paper, greaseproof paper on the bottom of this. Lovely. Get it nice and even if you can. Look at the mess I'm making. Always the same here. Quite often I make square ones, so what I would, or oblong ones, so what I would do is make it on this tray and then cut it accordingly. Cut it into thirds. But whatever you do, you want 3 layers for this cake. And there we go. Right, these are now going to go into a preheated oven, 180 degrees, for about 10 to 12 minutes, just until they're soft to the touch and they've dried out and risen. See you when they're cooked. Well, I have my cakes in the oven, and some bits are already cooked. So while they're cooling, we're going to make a syrup for this. Now, all we need in here is 200 mils of water into a saucepan. And then we have 175 grams of just granulated sugar. What we're going to do now is bring this to the boil and boil it quickly for 5 minutes. We're going to leave it to cool down then and put it to one side, because when it's completely cold, we're going to put 2 tablespoons of Kirsch into this so that we can brush our cakes. Going to get this boiled and put it to one side to cool. Okay, my cakes are cooked and my syrup has cooled down nicely. So all I'm going to do now is pop into that 2 tablespoons of Kirsch. That's I buy these little bottles of Kirsch because I only use it for this. Give that a little stir, and then we'll leave that to finish cooling down before we use it. The next job we're going to do is make the Kirsch cream for our cake. So in this jug I've got 750 mils of whipping cream. If like me you live in France and you buy 30% cream, it's got to be 30% fat. I always put some mascarpone in mine, a good spoonful of mascarpone, because that helps to set your cream or stabilise it. So in we go with the cream and my mascarpone. You don't need this if you live in other places where your cream is stable. I'm also going to pop into that 75 grams of just regular granulated sugar or caster sugar. There we go. So pop that in. Now I'm going to whip this until it's stiff peaks, very stiff peaks. Check and see. Ooh, I'm going to go a tad more with that, I think. Okay, that's beautiful. Now we've got our really well whipped cream. So into that, I'm now going to pour 3 tablespoons of Kirsch. There it goes. And then using a Murry's, I'm just going to fold that in very gently. I'm not trying to kill my cream here. Just cut and fold. That's all you need to do. Cut and fold until all that Kirsch is worked into there. This is absolutely delicious, and this is what gives that Black Forest Gateau its traditional, unctuous taste. So, we're pretty much prepared to start constructing our cake. This is really just about getting organised, as usual. I try and be organised, but things don't always go quite how they should, do they? Alright, so I've now worked that in. That cream is looking gorgeous. Oh, so nice. Okay, so my cakes are cooked. They're all ready to go. I've taken them out of the pans. My syrup is all ready, and I've put a pastry brush into there. In this bowl, I've got 3 tablespoons of raspberry jam. And she's at it again. In this bowl, I have glacé cherries, and they're chopped. Because I prefer them to be chopped. You can just cut them in half and leave them whole, that's up to you. But I quite like those chopped. I've also reserved 8 for the top of the cake. And in this bowl here, I've got 150 grams of chocolate. It's up to you what you use. You can use milk, chocolate, if you prefer dark chocolate. I'm going with dark chocolate here. And all I've done is put that through my food processor, grating it down, because that's going to form decoration at the end. So, without further ado, let's get started. Here I have my 3 cakes. Oh God, I hope this goes right. I'm going to put a little bit of cream. Oh, I have my scoop for my cream. I'm going to put a tiny bit of cream in the middle there to try and keep this cake in place. So all I need to do now is put it where I want it, about there I think, and then I'm going to peel off carefully the backing of that. There you go. Just make sure I've got it exactly where I want it. I'm going to get filthy and make such a mess here. First thing I'm going to do is coat my cake with some of my Kirsch syrup. There we go. Just give it a little coating. And we're going to do this on all the layers of this cake. Here we go, nearly done. It actually drinks quite a lot of this, but you'll probably have some over at the end. Okay, that's that. On our first layer, I'm going to put my jam. So, 1, 2, 3. There we go. And I'm just going to spread that round. That's all the way around. That looks like quite a lot, doesn't it? But you'll taste that. That'd be lovely. There we go. I'm going to clean this plate up afterwards. You'll see it's going to be one big hideous mess. So that's why I've gone for a slightly bigger plate. Excuse me. Just going to put a scoop of cream in this layer. Just a scoop. And then try and just put that on gently. You don't want too much cream in this layer, but I always feel cheated if there's nothing there when I cut the cake. Okay, so that's really not a lot, is it? Then we're going to go and put a second, I might save that one for the top because this one's going to be quite hard to get out, I think. I've gone a little bit over the edges with this. So I'm just going to prep it because I really don't want it to break. But I need to pull these edges down. Use another palette knife, I think, and just make sure that's down. So Next layer's going on. You can see why I don't take this off before, because it's really quite hard to deal with one hand otherwise. And then we're going to work our way around very gently indeed, just getting that back in off of there. Got a bit that's gone there. Really take your time, don't wreck your cake. There we go. Make sure those edges are coming out. And there we go. Straight into the bin. Now I just want to check that my cake's lined up nicely before I go any further. Right, here we go again. We're going to put another layer, or another lot, of the Kirsch syrup on top of that. This makes this cake so moist and beautiful. It really does. I suppose you could skip this process, but just won't be the same. Don't be shy with it. I mean, you don't want a big crying mess at the bottom, but there you go. Right, I'm going to use my palette knife just to push the middle down there. This time, get this out of the way, we're going to put a layer of cream. There we go. Just sort of spread it around a bit to get you started. Now that's going to be enough. So, just get that round your edge, round to the edge, like this. You don't want too much because we're going to put another layer on in a moment. Take a bit off of there, I think. Right, so we're just going to go to the edge with that. Doesn't matter if you go over the edge because we're going to coat that anyway. There we go. In there. There we go. Beautiful. Then we're going to place our cherries into this layer here. Just your chopped up cherries. Everybody likes these in their Black Forest Gateau. Won't be the same without. I've used about 150 grams of cherries for this cake. I'm saving some for later on. Okay, so when you're happy, you've got your cherries round and everyone's going to get a bit when you cut it, you're going to go with another layer of cream on top of this. This is why you don't have a lot of this cake, I think. There we go. Might need a bit more. And then you're just going to cover those cherries so you've got a really thick layer of cream on there. Pop that one there. There we go. Just make sure that's properly covered. Put a bit more on. Again, don't be shy with the cream. What I like about this is you can actually, when this is finished, freeze it quite happily. Really, you can freeze this. A bit around the edges because I'm going to try and keep it, it's looking a bit puddingy at the minute and I want this to be fairly flat for my next layer. Okay, I'm going to go around there, go around there, and I can see I've got a bit of a hole going on here. So just try and keep it a good shape as you go. There we are. Right, okay, that's that layer. We're now going to go with our final layer, and I need to take this off because I want this to be the other way up. There you go. And hopefully, oh, not too bad. Let's get it on. There we are. I've got my towel with me. This is hilarious. It'll only get worse from here. Okay, we still put one bit of syrup on this top layer here. I can tell you this is absolutely to die for when it's finished. And it should, in theory, look a bit better than it does right now. Here's hoping, fingers crossed. Okay, there we go. Right, now I've still got some syrup left here. That's not a problem. I can keep that and use it elsewhere. After all, it's alcohol. Okay, next. And this is where it's going to start getting really scary. I've still got cream here. So, once this is sunk in a bit, I'm going to start putting some cream on my cake. I need to reserve some of this for just piping on the top, so don't use all of this at this stage. So here we go. Leave a bit from piping. All I want is enough to pipe 8 little swirls on top to put my cherries on. Here we go again. Right, I'm going to push this because I need it to go all the way around the side. Can you see that? Hopefully you can. I have a tendency to put things in front of where I'm working. So, concentrate first of all on filling the sides of this because we're going to stick chocolate to this. You can clean the plate afterwards, and my God, you're going to need to. And I'm pretty sure you're going to need to do that. So just keep working around. If you've got a turntable, great. I actually have one. I don't know why I don't use it, to be fair. Get myself another bit of cream to go around the side. All we're doing is filling holes and making it look somewhat decent. There we go. We're doing all right. Fill that in. It's a bit like doing a plastering job, I suppose. I'm sure all the best plasterers are good cake decorators. I've got plenty on my palette knife here. I'm sure some of you could do much better than this, but I do do what I can here. There we go. And nearly there. So concentrate first of all on this side. I think I'm looking a bit lopsided here, but who worries about that? I'm going to ice pipe some as well, so that should be quite good. Right, this top layer doesn't need to be too thick, just wants to cover it. Because you've got plenty of cream in the middle of this. And I've just plumped it all there, can you see? Okay, here we go. The chocolate will hide a multitude of sins here, I think. That's where I usually come from when I'm doing this. As long as nobody sees this bit, they're going to be happy with the end result. Okay, so I'm quite happy. I've got a coating on there that my chocolate's going to stick to. And look at all this mess. Wash my hands again. The next thing we need to do, amongst all this mess, is put our chocolate onto the cake. So, right, the easiest way to do this, really, try and work with cold hands, because you are not going to do this. Try and get it in the palm of your hand and chuck it on the way round. Just a bit, like this. You'll have got loads here, but we'll pick that up with a palette knife in a minute. So again, try and stick what you can around the sides. There we go. It's getting there. And this is one messy job. You'll probably look like you've got a glove on afterwards. Turn my plate. You can see what I was saying now about you absolutely need to clean your plate afterwards. Just try and get it on. Once you've gone round once, you're almost there. But look at the mess. This is a mess, but it will look lovely when it's done. I promise. There we go. Get in there. One coat on. There we go. Right, I've got round it once. Now I'm going to use a clean palette knife to try and take some off, but then go. You can't see, can you, from that side? I'm going to use my palette knife to pick up the slack there, the bits that I've missed. Don't forget we've got the top to do yet as well, so just pull it along and poke it up. Pull it along, poke it up. Sometimes I don't even clean the plate because I can make it sort of look like it's meant to be there. So now I want to coat the top. It's easier to do it this way, I think. Do the sides, then do the top. Because I don't think we're going to get it done any other way. There we go. Now this looks a bit like a horror story, doesn't it? At the moment. But I promise you, in a minute, this will look gorgeous, I'm sure. Okay, there we go. Now, will be cleaning this plate round in a little while. First of all, I'm going to go and wash my hands. I don't need this chocolate anymore for now. Well, I've kind of, sort of, cleaned up my plate a bit. I'll finish that later. What I need to do now is pipe myself a little bit of decoration on here. So, I found on Amazon, I've been practicing making, what are they called? French macarons, and I will be doing a video on that in the new year. Now, I bought a little macaron set, and this came with it. Plastic piping thing, and I've got to tell you, it's the only thing I've ever used that works with one hand. So there we go. So we get that down in. Now I've only got to pipe 8 little things on here. I'd like to do it quite tidily if I can. Now this is a little lid, goes on here. Now the only issue I had with this is if you do not put that on properly until it clicks and check all the way round it, like that, you get a lot of stuff coming out of the top, which is not ideal. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to squeeze. Oh God, I hope this works. And I'm going to make a little thingy, what's it? I don't even know what that can be called. A swirl. This does come with limited amount of nozzles. I'm going to put one there so I can try and line them up a bit. As you know, decoration is not my forte, so I'm going to do 4 first of all, so that I've got them roughly in the... This is what I was saying, there you go. So it's not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. Last one in there. Please, please, please go. Oh! Not too shabby. That one looks terrible, doesn't it? I'll put a bit in. Thank God we're putting cherries on these. That's all I can say. Oh my God, it's awful. Okay, so I used this, excuse me, I did use this for macarons, and actually it was really good. Not so good with cream. I keep licking my hand, my fingers, and I really shouldn't be doing that. Okay, in this bowl I've got half cherries. So I'm just going to pop them in there, like this. And I can assure you, this will taste good. Oh look, do you know what? I don't think that's too shabby. I really don't. I think that looks absolutely lovely. I've seen far worse. Now I'm just going to clean up my plate here. I'm going to pop this one in the fridge. I am not the best at decorating. I do not have a steady hand. But actually, I don't think that looks too shabby at all. Well, I hope you enjoyed my video. I do hope that you have a go at it. It's not actually that hard, and like I said, the chocolate can hide a multitude of things. My piping is ridiculous. I still don't think this looks too bad. So, if you liked what you saw, please share, like, subscribe to see me attempt more delicious food, if not pretty. Thank you for watching.